guys, Miss Egg here. So I would like to explain the activity over orbitals and electron configuration. So in the classroom, we're going to be doing this with paper and then with pennies representing electrons. But what I'd like to go over is how to work the digital version and what it means. Okay, so before we look at the directions on the website, let's look at the manipulative that you're going to use. So also posted with this assignment is you find these slides. Now, these slides are not meant to just do the slide and be done. You're going to keep using it for each element, okay? Now, I'm going to slide on over to my slides to show you like why it's colored, how I made it like this to kind of explain what you're seeing real quick, okay? So first of all, this is a copy of the worksheet everybody is getting in class. As you can see, there's no color yet. So we have the first energy level, second energy level, and third energy level. And as we've learned today, that each energy level is actually made up of more specific sub-levels. Now, the first energy level has an S sublevel, and then that's it. And in that S sublevel, there is only one orbital which holds 2 electrons. So it's like, if I think of the S sublevel as like the base of the energy level. So here we see one sublevel, which is the S, and it can hold 2 electrons. Then when we move up to the second energy level, again, we start with an S sublevel, or one orbital that can hold 2 electrons. But then we have the P sublevel. The P sublevel actually has 3 orbitals. And again, each orbital can hold 2 electrons. So here's an orbital in the P sublevel, a second orbital, and then a third. Now, when we move up to the third sublevel, or the third energy level, there are actually 3 sublevels. There's an S sublevel first. There's always an S first. Then there's the P sublevel, and then there would be the D sublevel. But we just don't have enough room on our paper, okay? So we're just going to be looking at the S sublevel and the P. So if you notice the pattern, every energy level has an S sublevel. So the first thing I did on my paper plate is I highlighted the S sublevels. And that kind of makes me think of the energy levels we've talked about. The S sublevel is round, and it can hold 2 electrons. All right. Now, if we go to the other paper, okay, this is showing all the sublevels and orbitals layered on top of each other, because it doesn't really look like this. It's not all spread out, okay? When we're talking about each energy level and sublevels in an atom, they're all layered on top of each other. So this is what it would look like. Now, it's a much easier to understand if we highlight, okay? So here we can see a little more clearly. We have the first energy level starting with the 1s, okay, the S sublevel. Then the second energy level has the S sublevel, and then the third energy level has the S sublevel. So every energy level always starts with an S sublevel, and it can only hold 2 electrons. Now I've brought in a different color because I used the blue to highlight the P sublevel, okay? And if we look at that layered in our picture, it looks like this. Kind of looks like a pretty flower, okay? And again, the shape is like this dumbbell shape. And when they layer on top of each other, we kind of see it as sticking out from behind. So the first energy level does not have a P sublevel. When I go to the second, so this is kind of how this twists. It goes like this, and it's kind of in the background. This one goes like this, like a figure 8. This one goes like this. All right? Okay, let me pause something for a minute. I forgot something. Okay, no, I didn't forget something. I'm good. So now let's go back to the activity directions. All right, so number 1, determine the number of electrons for each atom and write it in the table. Okay, so you'll need your periodic table to do this. Most of them go in order, but not all. Right. My handy dandy periodic table here. So the first thing I would do is for each element, just go down and write how many electrons we need. So like hydrogen, atomic number is 1, we need 1 electron. Helium, atomic number is 2, we need 2 electrons. So I'm just going to fill this out here. I need 1 electron, 2, 3. Okay, they don't all go in order, so please make sure you're checking with the periodic table. So that's your first step. Second step, place the electrons in the appropriate orbitals on the manipulative. So the manipulative means this thing right here, okay? So I've got those copied in my slides, so I'm going to do an example for you. Let's look at hydrogen's pretty easy, but we'll do another one after that. Let's see, okay, beryllium is 4, and then boron is 5. Okay, let's just start with hydrogen. So first of all, I can look at it at this slide, but again, this isn't maybe the true area. But this is going to be where I'm going to get started. So hydrogen has 1 electron, and it's just going to go in that first energy level in the S sublevel. Now, if I look at it on this one, okay, just goes in that S1 sublevel, and that's it. So it has 1 electron in the first energy level, the S sublevel. Now, if I move on to helium, helium needs 2 electrons. So 2 electrons, okay? If I come back to this, it's just a little different look. Same thing, 2 electrons, and now it's full because the S sublevel can only hold 2 electrons. All right, so 2. So since it is full now, when I build lithium, lithium has 3 electrons. So if I start here, this sublevel is full, and I'm going to have to go to the second energy level. I always start by placing my electrons on the S sublevel. So if I look at the whole atom together, when I pull that electron over, just to be clear, it's on the yellow part and not the blue. I like to put it there. Okay, so that means there are 2 electrons in the S sublevel for energy level 1, and then there was 1 electron here. Okay, so you should see a pattern here. Notice I'm not starting over each time. Okay, now let's go on to, no, we're good. Let's go, I want to do boron. Let's skip ahead and do boron. So boron, I need 5. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, let's start back here. So this is full. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I know each orbital can only hold 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm building boron. Boron needs 5. And then I'm gonna put it here. Okay. This is an orbital for the P sublevel, okay? So now I'm going to pull this. I'm just going to put it on one of the P's. All right, so that's what it looks like. And now what I see is there were 2. That was full, and now I have to move on. Okay? All right, so that is the pattern so far, okay? Remember from the gizmo yesterday, I'll just tell you this. From the gizmo yesterday, we did learn, okay? Let's say we're going on and we're building one that has, this was 5 with boron. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I missed it. My gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? As I move on, the next one after boron would be, after boron is carbon, and carbon needs 6. So I've got 1, 2, because again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if carbon has 6, it's not going to just pair up automatically. It's like seats on a bus. Most people want to sit by themselves. So this will take 2. Okay, this orbital holds 2, but they're going to fill up the empty seats first. Okay, so you're going to fill up each one of those first before they pair up. So this one was going to go like that. All right, but again, the P sublevel can hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if it maybe looks better, you can put them right in there. Okay, so it looks like it's holding them. All right. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Let's see how you do. Please let me know if you have any questions.